everyone, this is Kelsey from the Arcane Library, and I'm here to walk you through a new adventure I wrote. This adventure is for the Adventure Mixtape, which is actually a compilation of 4 writers who all contributed an adventure and worked with musicians to get 4 original songs written. So this is actually launching this upcoming week, but I wanted to get this walkthrough ready pre-launch so you can get an idea for what my adventure is like. So this one is an adventure for 1st through 3rd level characters, and it is called Treaty of the Tiger King. So this adventure is meant to take place in a big urban city with a harbor. We tried to match the vibe of some of the major new releases from Wizards of the Coast in case you would want to use this in that setting. So most of the adventures in this compilation are going to work with any kind of big urban setting, or they could be started in a big urban setting and then occur elsewhere in the later stages. So anyway, my adventure, I want to talk about it. It's a one-shot, so it's meant to be played basically in one sitting. And in this adventure, the players are encountering a king named King Rami, and he is coming from a faraway location to the big city because he is attempting to negotiate a peace treaty for his people against explorers and prospectors in his own lands. There has been a war for a while, and he is a new leader, recently risen to power, and he just wants to end the war. So the adventure actually begins with an encounter called A King in Need. And this is actually King Rami's arrival to the city, and the players happen to be there or go there because it's rumored that a really important king is coming, and a lot of people want to come see it. So this begins on the harbor when the players are also there. And what happens is there are some thugs from the mercenary guild who actually are going to make an assassination attempt against the king. The mercenary guild wants this war to continue because it's been very profitable for them. And they probably in a warped way feel they have some kind of justification for continuing the war, some just cause. Most often, both sides in a conflict think they're right. So that happens where there are 4 scouts or scout stats, enemies, who are kind of laying in wait. And so the players see King Rami descending from the ship, and they will probably detect these scouts moving through the crowd toward him, and a combat breaks out. So I don't normally write choke points into my adventures with the story, but if King Rami gets killed in this encounter, the adventure probably cannot happen. So I tried to work in some safeguards. There's a crowd that makes movement a little bit more difficult for everybody. And King Rami is actually blessed by his gods and can transform into a tiger. So that gives him a little bit of a combat edge. And because this adventure is almost entirely a social and exploration type adventure, there are very few combats. And so I'm hoping that the players will be at full power and able to kind of deal with these scouts. Be aware that King Rami does need to survive this for the adventure to happen. So if you have to pull some tricks or do a little bit of creativity to keep him alive, it's definitely worth it in this situation. So following that, a scholar who was in the crowd who was coming to greet King Rami as well realizes that the players were of great help in this assassination attempt, and we move on to the section called Help Wanted. So this scholar named Mordecai tries to recruit the players to help keep King Rami safe. Now, King Rami has come to the city without a set of military or armed guards because in his culture it would be rude to bring an armed force to a peace negotiation. Mordecai knows this but thinks that perhaps King Rami needs a bit more protection than he would have at first thought. So he tries to recruit the players using an appeal to either reward, heroism, or discovery, the 3 classics in this adventure. So we're hoping that one of those 3 things will appeal to the players and then really get them stuck in on this adventure. So if that does happen, if they decide to help King Rami, we're going to move on to a section called Luck Favors the Polite. Luck Favors the Polite. So what's happening in this is that King Rami, while a very intelligent and well-respected man in his own culture is now in a foreign culture, and he is seeking some input from the players about how he's supposed to comport himself at a dinner party. So what the players will have to do throughout the rest of the adventure is attend social events with King Rami, the goal being to earn some respect for him. And at the end of the adventure, there's going to be a negotiation for the peace treaty that King Rami is here to hopefully get. I guess it would be sort of a failure if the peace treaty was not negotiated. So that's, I guess, a failure state for this adventure. But there's something called respect points that are going to accumulate or perhaps get taken away throughout this adventure, and these are going to come and go based on the actions and successes or failures of the players. So in Luck Favors the Polite, the players are going to try to instruct King Rami in some of the mores of this particular culture. There's a roll table for things he might ask if the DM needs some inspiration for fun things to ask the players, and this is mostly a skill challenge, so the skills will be related to the character's stats, and if they can succeed on a roll, then we assume they've kind of taught or imparted some wisdom to King Rami. And there are questions and things that work for every stat here, so hopefully every player will get a chance to shine, whether they're charisma focused or even constitution focused. There's some stuff here for them. So there's a particular timer set up for this so that it isn't going to go to infinity. So once that ends, then the players are going to move on to the next section here, which is actually called Survive the Socialites. So this is the luncheon that King Rami is now having to attend with socialites in this city. So the players will arrive there. There's some potential intrigue that goes on a little bit at their arrival. There's a suspicious coach driver. However, the main thrust of this encounter is earning some respect from these various socialites who are at this luncheon. Excuse me a second. I have some kind of throat-itis. Some tea in the Gary Con mug. Very worth it, Gary Con. Hey, if you can come to Gary Con this year, this is being filmed in October of 2018. I'm going to Gary Con this upcoming spring. So, little side diversion. Meet me there. There will be tons of Arcane Library and otherwise going on, and I would be so excited to cross paths with you. So, anyway, back to the adventure. Survive the Socialites. There is a roll table for luncheon events, and the players will be attempting to either impress or maybe not impress some of the various people who are there. So the mechanic here is that the players can try to figure out what will impress particular people and then try to do so. But there's a chance that they will actually offend those people by doing an action that is not something they like. And if that happens, then the respect points that the group is accumulating could go down. So there's ways for them to earn respect and ways for them to lose it. The goal being they want to get as much respect as possible to help them pass the negotiation at the end of the adventure. So some fun things could happen, such as someone choking on shrimp. What do you do? Someone proposing marriage to King Rami. What do you do? So there's some fun stuff in there. Okay, now following this exciting luncheon, it will be creeping towards the evening hours, and then it will be time to go out on the town. So King Rami is expected at Club Levantis for an appearance and the chance to hobnob with people of import. So the players will travel with him to Club Levantis. But on the way, waylaid. Oh no, some more thugs from the Mercenary Guild who have been trying to stay aware of King Rami's movements are going to strike again. So this happens when the players are moving through an alley while dusk is falling, and there's a combat that breaks out with 4 thugs. So once again, the goal of this encounter is to keep King Rami alive, and if he actually dies in this adventure, then the adventure has reached a failure state. The players have actually lost or not won the adventure, so very much want to keep him alive. So there's some dramatic things that will happen to spice this encounter up. It's not just a stand-up fight. There's actually a livestock stand that gets trampled into during the encounter, and there's a roll table for a livestock event that will happen where either some goats or chickens or horses or an angry commoner intervene in the fight and create a sort of a nice twist. So if the players are able to survive that fight and drive off the mercenaries, they'll be able to proceed to Club Levantis. And Club Levantis is kind of the last social encounter. So this is again like the luncheon. This is going to be called Fly by Night. Here we have a different set of people. We have some socialites, some night people, some sort of suspicious, maybe criminal people here. And the players will again be trying to earn respect points by impressing or offending people. But the stakes are different. These people are different. So they're going to have to learn what these people want. And they're going to have to make things like insight rolls to try to sort out who they can impress with what, and then go for it and make an attempt. So there's again a timer on this encounter so that the players aren't just stuck here all night trying to impress everybody and rolling at, into infinity. The players could offend someone and start a fight. If they get kicked out of the club, they lose respect. There's some fun things on that roll table, like a bouncer thinks you're trouble, convince her otherwise, or lose a respect point. Or Ignatius, the mobster, tries to steal your coin. What do you do? So that's a fun little social encounter there. And then finally, we're going to move on to the last bit here. It's called Peace at Last. This is when the players are going to be given the opportunity to create some negotiation and create some terms for this treaty that King Rami is trying to come to. At this point, the king has come to rely on the players as someone or people who are trying to help him, and he's come to respect them himself, most likely, and so he does ask them to help him make decisions about what he should negotiate for. So at this point, the players are going to be given this set of tables, the treaty tables, right here. And it's a little, I think you can see that, but we have negotiation concessions and negotiation gains. So depending on how many respect points and possible benefits the players have accumulated, they're going to have to either shoot higher or lower for what they can get out of this negotiation. So they can take some concessions to reduce the roll's DC, or they can raise the DC by asking for more complex and special things that are in King Rami's favor. So the players can cherry pick and mix and match from these two lists to finally settle upon a DC they think they can hit, and then they're going to take their respect points and make a roll. And we'll see if they actually succeed at proposing and negotiating this treaty. Some things that they could take a concession on are, for example, the prospectors who are in King Rami's land are granted full ownership of an operational seaport. So that would be a concession, so that lowers the DC. Whereas something they could ask for would be that all mercenary forces will permanently withdraw and no armed forces will be further introduced. That's a big gain, so that's a big increase on the DC. But if the players can negotiate that, then that's a huge success for King Rami. So once that roll is concluded, then we have reached the decision point of the adventure where we know whether the players have succeeded or failed at their other goal. And then we would move on to the aftermath section, which outlines some other things that can happen as a result of the negotiation. So if the treaty succeeded, the world will be in a different state. If the treaty failed, the world will be in a different state. So there's some suggestions there for how to continue the players' adventures. And because you have the adventure mixtape, you actually have 3 other adventures that fit very seamlessly with this one, that there's some tie-ins and some characters from this adventure that are actually appearing in the others. So hopefully there are some other segues that come about from that. So that's it, everyone. That's the walkthrough for Treaty of the Tiger King. A little bit of an experimental adventure. It's the first very socially heavy one that I wrote, and I'm hoping that these mechanics turn out to be fun and make for some cool scenes and really hilarious and fun encounters for the players. So let me know what you think. You can pick this up on drivethroughrpg.com. I will add a link to this video once we have it live, and I am really hoping you enjoy it. So we'll catch you guys later, and this is Kelsey from the Arcane Library out. Bye!